How's it going, League fans, and welcome back to the Blame Game for the first week of the Summer Split Season 6. I'm Mark Z, former head analyst and assistant coach for Team Liquid, and each week after the LCS, I will be looking at the top Reddit comments in the post-game discussion threads to decide if the blame there is justified or not. Now, the format of the league has changed to best of 3, so there might be some changes in the show going forward, but for now, let's just get right into it. What better way to start than with the first series of the split with TSM versus CLG? TSM crushed going 2-0, causing a lot of comments directed at Darshan and how he got manhandled by Hauntzer, especially in Game 2 on Fiora. I was on the analyst desk and I think even I threw some shade at him, but the question is, upon further review, is this blame accurate? Starting with the draft, you have to split a little bit of the blame between Darshan and the coach Tony, who agreed to last rotation Fiora against Echo. Now that matchup isn't bad at all, but it's still a little bit skilly, though it can do some serious work from ahead. The problem comes from the fact that the rest of the comp lacked any serious wave clear to hold out should they fall behind and let Darshan try and 4-1 split push. As the game actually played out though, a tank would have been much better because it was Darshan who fell behind and couldn't contribute at all in team fights on Fiora. But that's a little bit of revisionist history. When we try and look at why Darshan fell behind, he's actually doing fine in the lane until he makes a TP play to try and punish a red invade from Svenskeren, who was actually out jungling Smithy for most of the series. He has a wave pushed into his turret as he returns to lane, and I don't think there's many top laners who would want a TP here, so I have the feeling this was a team decision and not actually Darshan's. The play goes bad as Darshan is killed and it's Hauntzer who picks it up. After the play, the wave is pushing back towards Hauntzer, who intelligently gets a Bomby Cinder instead of looking for any kind of armor itemization. With control of the lane, he now sets up a very well-coordinated dive with Bjergsen to get another kill on Darshan. There's a couple other instances this game where Darshan gets bullied or picked off in the side lanes, but at this point there's really not much more he can do and he's not going to be able to contribute in team fights. Hauntzer played this game extremely well and used his advantages to punish Darshan, but I don't think it's fair to blame Darshan because he wasn't the cause of those advantages. Moving on to another series that featured a 2-0 from TSM, we'll be looking at their matchup versus Team Liquid. It was a clash of styles as Team Liquid prefers to focus around bot lane and TSM puts a lot of control around mid. This resulted in 2 horrible games from Phoenix, and with such obviously bad stat lines, Reddit bashed him up. Is it Phoenix's fault though, or would most mids have also been beat up in this situation? I'll just come right out and say it. Yes, this is Phoenix's fault. He's an extremely talented player who mechanically plays team fights and laning phases well. If you rewatch Game 1 versus Envy, his Victor is one of the only reasons Team Liquid is still in that game. That said, Phoenix struggles with the map and vision focused portions of the game, resulting in him being extremely susceptible to dives, roams, and ganks. In Game 2 versus TSM, he actually dies to the first 2 ganks with his trinket up. In the first one, with how the laning phase is going, he has plenty of time to go drop his trinket in one of the side bushes. In the second gank, TLC's Sven on the top side of the map in their jungle, and Phoenix doesn't use this time to go ward up. Now he plays getting ganked extremely well with some assistance with Dardoch causing a 1-for-1, but he doesn't need to be in these positions. It's extra frustrating because I know this is something that the coaching staff works extensively with him on, and it was something that during my time with him I put a lot of focus on as well. Here's a clip of us in Season 5 arguing about his trinketing and lane positioning, which TSM was abusing in scrims.
Phoenix, we have big problem mid, especially against TSM. So much pressure all the time. We need to fix.
I don't want picks.
You don't want to fix?
Yeah, I know how to pick, but
No, you don't.
it's fine.
It's middle of season, still problem. How fix?
He doesn't want to fix it. He doesn't want to fix it.
That's a bad mentality.
Yeah, it's
And
bad
I'm
mentality.
not going to accept bad mentalities. Phoenix, come up and watch with me. Maybe you're right and I'm wrong, and then we admit I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I want fix. We just trying to get better. Everyone want win, right? You want win?
Yeah.
Phoenix is the guy who calms down quick, picked him up, brought him in the other room, and we're able to talk right away. Before anyone gets mad at me about my use of broken English, I asked my players how they want me to talk to them, and all of them agree that they just want to understand the points being made. We use much more proper English in non-team situations. Now that video paints Phoenix in a pretty horrible light, and he's usually way better to work with than that, so I don't want people to focus on that part. Instead, realize that we were trying to aggressively fix these issues over a year ago, and it's a joke that they're as bad as they still are. Phoenix might get mad at me for bringing this video back up, but I don't care because hopefully it reminds him what he needs to do. For these reasons, the blame is totally correct. Returning is the high five segment where I give a shout out to my favorite comment of the week. This one goes to Neighbor for pointing out the importance of teamwork in League of Legends and how it's often more impactful in someone's performance than how individually skilled that player is. I think that was pretty apparent with the first section on Darshan. I picked these comments pretty arbitrarily based on if it has some good analysis, maybe a funny joke, or just some insight that I want more people to see. That's it for this week's episode of The Blame Game. I didn't cover as many topics as I would usually want to because I'm working on some other stuff this week. Now, the best of 3 format is pretty interesting going forward, so let me know if you guys like what I did this episode, focusing on really specific games, or I can go the other way and look at series trends like C9's horrible mid-game stallouts versus Echo Fox. Or you could also just let me use my own impeccable judgment. As I alluded to earlier, I worked on some other content this week with a couple other hooligans. Hopefully when that comes out, I'll put an annotation up around here that you can click that will link to it. You can also go to the description below and click on my social media links, and I'll probably post some updates there about it. So you can do that. Also remember to subscribe and all that other jazz.